Hey everyone, 大家阿弥陀佛. Hi, this is Reverend Heng Sure. Welcome to our Avatamsaka Sutra lecture. Glad you're with us. Hope that you'll enjoy today's lecture. 那么大家阿弥陀佛，午安啊。我是恒师，我现在是8月26号在澳大利亚这里。希望各位都会热心地来参加我们华严经十迴向品的讲座。Okay, hope you are all ready to join in with our Ten Transferences lecture of the Avatamsaka Sutra. So to get started, let's first bow to the Buddha 3 times. I will ring the bell, and you all can join me. And then we'll ask Celeste to request Dharma. 我们先礼佛3拜，从自己的座位上可以行3个问心礼，然后呢 Celeste 就要请法。Okay, are we ready? Here we go. First bow. Here's the second bow. And here's the third bow. Okay, Celeste, if you would like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it right now.
恭请大德圣听，为此法会及一切众生，请转了法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，殊胜无生。View the Sangha with great virtue out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshe.
Namo satanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的, Celeste, thank you for the Dharma request. We will proceed. And again, greetings to everyone, wherever you may be, around the Dharma realm. Let's see here. First, before I pull my legs, we need to 请法，请诸佛菩萨护法上身，华严海会佛菩萨莅临道场。Before we get started, we need to invoke spiritual presence, invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the Avatamsaka Assembly, as well as the Dharma protectors, protecting spirits to draw near. Please join me. Namo Okay, give me 1 second. Need to cross my legs here. Wait. All right. We respectfully acknowledge, clicking through the screens, there we go, the Pomo people who practice their spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here in the Ukiah Valley, in their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years, and today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands and offer our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 就说我们恭敬地承认 Pomo 人是我们寺院所在地的传统实施者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权第一民族的原住民致敬。Furthermore, we would like to, I have a beautiful bell here to enjoy the bell song with everybody. You ready for this new bell? Here we go. Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中。共训其法界和平，利益报他脑后的。The bell is still ringing. Wow, very nice bell. Okay, so 欢迎各位。We have 84 of us. At the moment, as I start to acknowledge where we're from, by the time I'm done, we will have more. 85, just like that. Our co-host is in Taipei. And our administrator is in Ukiah, and we have friends here from Oroville, Washington, and 95482, that's CTDB, and Alan is here from Ukiah, and Barbara and Ernie. Binxin is here from Shanghai. Celeste, our Dharma requester, is in Hong Kong, and we have friends here from Malaysia, Newbury Park, Fremont, LA, Calgary, Sunnyvale, Saratoga, and San Jose. Let's see here. Also Montreal and Kuala Lumpur and on the road to Ukiah. Okay. And Ukiah itself in Dublin, Ohio. And Wongohua. Alameda. Columbia City, Oregon. Hi, Jan. And let's see, that is Union City, California. And Northern California and Seattle and Ukiah. Jin Rosher's here. Welcome, Jin Rosher. Jin Yongshi is here. Welcome, Jin Yongshi, our Sangha gathering here to support this lecture. Bay Area, San Francisco, Alameda, San Jose, Oklahoma, San Leandro, California. See here, where else? Virginia, and Ukiah, and Vancouver. Okay, Malaysia, Santa Barbara. 好的，那我们就改到这个东方这边。就说邱福分台北来的，还有北京 and 上海 and 哈尔滨 and 杭州 and 朝阳辽宁，还有黑龙江、深圳、大连，合肥安徽合肥，还有see here 湖南省，还有黑龙江，还有蓝海鸡西，还有哪里？苏州，还有陕西宝鸡，还有新北市黑龙江、泉州、福建吉林，朝阳，哪里？ 就说深圳，还有安徽淮南市、深圳、北京、河北唐山、北京、深圳、黑龙江、海南 ，OK， 海南岛 ，OK， 在南部，新疆欢迎鸡西、哈尔滨、吉隆坡、深圳、上海、黑龙江、湖北、台北市新疆、河南有一个新乡，河南新乡，还有黑龙江。好的90 people. So we're growing as we speak. So thank you for letting me do that, running through all the different places where we are. I think that's always exciting to my mind. Now, I wanted to tell everyone, and also our fearless coordinator, Jin Yong-shi, that at the end of this week, I'm traveling to Vancouver, British Columbia, because we've got an event. The 40th anniversary of Gold Buddha Monastery, place where I was among the first monks to staff there. And furthermore, there's a dedication of a new facility across the street from the monastery. So we've got a bigger purpose. There'll be lots of monks gathering, lots of nuns gathering in Canada. So if you are in Canada and you wanted to find out more about this event, let's see. I'm going to go out. I haven't done this in advance. I probably should do it first, but it's too late. Gold Buddha Monastery. Let's find their website. Here we are. Jinfo Shengsi. Let's look at the English. You have a choice of Chinese or English. Let's look at the English page. What happens? Here we go. Online Buddhism class. Right here. This is it. So here's the event. Jinfo's 40th anniversary celebration. There it is. Okay. Now, the point, and followed by a Liang Huang Bao Chan. The point that I wanted to make is that I will be giving all of my weekend lectures from Gold Buddha. So, 虚云老和尚画传，还有我们的如法界品，还有我们的十回向品，这个讲座哈，就从那边讲。Okay, I will be lecturing all 3 lectures that I give regularly from Gold Buddha. So it looks like my travel schedule allows me to be there for the whole weekend, which is the question that I had. So that they have broadband, and I'll take my mic, and we'll do everything from there. 就说温哥华金佛寺哈有这个大法会，这个周末下个周末，就说有40周年，就是建立金佛寺的40周年，还有我们动土的这个let's see groundbreaking ceremony 破土的法会，还有三皈五戒，还有两魂宝忏。如果你们在温哥华、在 Calgary、在 Toronto、在 Montreal 那里，都可以考虑能不能去参加。Okay. So that's the event, August 31st, September 1st, 2nd, all the way to the 10th. 就说是这个下个月就说这个月底31号，然后9月初1一直到9月初10就有法会。如果在加拿大可以考虑。那么我通常讲的星期五、星期六、星期天这个佛学讲座就从金佛寺就讲 ，OK。如果大家就上网来参加呢，你们都不知道我人不在那里 ，OK。If you listen in online usually, you won't know that I'm in a different place, which is good. So here we go. Here's the Chinese. Okay, 49年, right? Everybody take a look at what's happening. 温殊格动图一世然后万佛圣城南校狮子舞龙舞哈就有表演，上场在三归五戒莲花宝刹。Okay, so just to let everybody know about that, big events happening. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's our text for today. Nope, not that. Here it is. Today's text. Okay, here we go. 菩萨善业悉回向，普令众生色清净，福德方便皆具足，同于无上调御师。Bodhisattvas dedicate all of their good karma so that living beings can have pure bodies and will be fully possessed of merit, virtue, and skillful means, just like the supreme Buddhas known as harmonizers. Okay. 就是怎么说呢？就是我们快那个第7回向快讲完了，这是中颂的地方的最后几句几首。菩萨善业悉回向，菩萨他们怎么成菩萨呢？他们是跟着普贤菩萨十大愿望。普贤菩萨的最后第10就是普皆回向。所以他们都这样子跟着普贤菩萨去做，他们愿意令众生色清净。这个怎么讲呢？可以说，菩萨对于男女之间这种关系呢，就不注意了，不重视不是说什么都不知道，他们知道，他们不感兴趣了，他们就已经。这个火堆里边就没有火了，冷了，凉了，所以呢，他们是可靠的人，他们做爸爸做妈妈做得很好，不会有这些乱七八糟的思想，因为色清净，也可以这么讲。福德方便皆具足，他们为什么要有福德？为什么要有方便呢？就是有福有慧。福德就说他们福报具足，他们方便智慧具足，两祖尊，所以他们可以度众生。哇，你跟他们在一起，你都会觉得这个人，他有什么说不出来的这种魅力，他讲话我都想听他愿意，他告诉我怎么做，我都想做，那就是方便智慧，我跟他很想跟他常常在一起，那就是福德，对不对？同于无上调御师，就像谁呢？像佛一样，就是这个话。Okay, let's translate this. Let's translate the translation. So Bodhisattvas give away all the good things, the real benefits that they do, they give it away. Because it's joyful. And their wish is to enable living beings to attain pure physical forms. Does that make sense to you? So you have a clean body? Okay, it's all right. I would translate it differently. It's 对于色 regarding the affairs of men and women, sexual desire is 清净, is purified. So that they don't think about, boys don't think about girls, girls don't think about boys all day long, night and day. They don't. Those. It's not that they're ignorant or some sort of sexless being. It's not that. It's that there, if it was a campfire, the embers are cooled off. The fire doesn't burn there. And what's the good part about that? It means they are trustworthy. They are reliable people who can't be swayed or confused by this primary urge. Their energy is not down in the bottom chakras anymore. The energy is in their hearts. Energy is in their throat, in their other parts of their body, so that the things they say you can trust are not selfish. Okay, that's 四清净. They are already beyond the desire to mate. And so as a result, you can be around them without fear that their thoughts are moving in the wrong place, okay? Like those of the supreme ones who subdue and regulate. Who? The Buddhas, like the Buddhas, right? So that's what bodhisattvas want living beings to be. And they dedicate merit to bring others forward. How wonderful if... So if you look at popular entertainment, movies, songs, novels, plays, so much of it is confused about that one issue, men and women, that if we could focus our energy on something other than that, how much we could accomplish. If our energy was designed to make sure everybody had food to eat, that everybody had a roof over their head, that everybody could walk in their neighborhood without fear of attack. Imagine. But instead, we put our energy into romance that is always changing. How many love stories make it past the third, fourth year and wind up in something else, right? Where there's heartbreak and trouble and so much wasted energy. So bodhisattvas say, yeah, I would like to dedicate my merit so that living beings are comfortable in their bodies without having to run out into others' bodies. That's what I would like to do. And you think, wow, this person is really going to get somewhere in life. That's someone to spend your time with, because they are going to be sure that the people around them are able to live with blessings and wisdom themselves, and become Buddhas soon. Yeah, that's a vow. That's a real vow. 还有，菩萨利益诸春生，功德大海尽回向，愿是微光特超世，得成凶猛大力身。Bodhisattvas benefit living beings, dedicating to them their ocean of merit, wishing they achieve magnificent transcendent brilliance. How would you like to achieve magnificent transcendent brilliance and realize bodies of mighty strength and courage? Okay, so what a cool dedication vow. I would like you to achieve magnificent transcendent brilliance and realize a body of mighty strength and courage. I would just say, hallelujah. Praise Buddha. Indeed, indeed. So interesting here, the Chinese is 诸春生, 诸春生. So one way that chun is translated as a flock, like a flock of sheep. It's got sheep in it. And the jun, the left side of the character, we're talking about this guy right here. Okay, that's the left half. I can't break it up. The left half is jun, that's the phonetic sound. But the right side of it is the character for sheep, or ram, or goat. And the Buddha probably said sarva sattva could be. Multiple sattva is like, maybe I should be careful, I don't know my Sanskrit well enough, is pusat, bodhisattva is sato. So anyway, it's multitude born, flock born. if you do it word by word. And that's an interesting translation that the Chinese translator took the Sanskrit and turned it into Chunsheng. Often, the word that we see is zhong, sheng, multitude, like many, many born, instead of flock born. Sometimes it's cang, sheng, meaning lots of crowd born, sort of like that. And no matter what Chinese character is assigned to it, what it means is we who come into being with a multitude of different conditions behind us. The size of our collective eighth consciousness is so big that we hold all of the seeds of all our previous incarnations in there, because these seeds have no shape or weight. They don't hold up space. They just overlap in there, in that eighth consciousness. And each of those conditions, what name, what surname we answered to, were we male or female, were we healthy or sick, were we long-lived or short-lived, were our six sense organs solid or not, all of those conditions from each different birthplace and lifespan, etc., and experiences, they're all in there. And so we get the name Chunsheng, flock born, born like a flock of conditions. And that's just the Chinese character that was chosen to represent this reality. And how it manifests is just one of the reasons I love Buddhism, why I like to study the Dharma, is this is how it is. And the Buddha's vision is big enough and keen enough that he can look back and tell us that this is how we come about. This is the way we arrive. Not just us humans, but all living beings have these multitude of causes behind us that bring us into being. How interesting! How interesting. Other faiths, what do they say? God made us. That's it. That's the only answer you get. Didn't satisfy. So, 就说佛经到了中国，是梵文，华严经就是梵文，印度话。然后要明白那个有最早的翻译的人，他们用汉字来代表这个印度话。Sattva 就是我应该是萨陀，那就生。可是第一个字有不同，有的众生，有的群生，有的苍生，都是说好几个，好多好多，很多很多，不是一个，很多什么，很多缘，各不同的缘成缘，就称我们人。或者呢，六道轮回不同的众生不一定是人，有的是天人，有的是地狱恶鬼畜生啊，有的是阿修罗，有的是人，很多因缘合才成我们众生，那就是菩萨回向的对象，是不是？大家明白哈 ？OK， 那么那个群生很有意思，怎么讲啊？就是群生，就说我们佛教就是这个地方，我特别喜欢佛教的解释法，就说人从哪里来？我们是从很多因缘合成一个人，生世，你前生做什么？是男的，是女的？身体健康还是疾病多？你六根具足还是有缺？你皮肤是什么颜色？你的姓名叫什么？你吃的是什么东西？你活的世界是不是平安还是战争？种种的因缘，生世 都留下种子在我们80天里边，都在这啊，都生生世世都还留个记忆，留下一个记忆啊，就是才成我们人的这个生命啊，所以叫春生、众生、苍生。这个有意思哈。那么其他的宗教呢，怎么说呢？我是怎么来的呢？上帝造你的，你是一个绵羊，他是牧师就可以了，没有旁的，不要追求，不能答复你。哇，I remember we asked 师父。师父, when do you see your karma clearly to know what you've been in the past? And Shifu said, even bodhisattvas who are in the 8th, 9th, and 10th stage look at the ocean of karma in every living being and they don't know it all. It's so complicated. It's so diverse. He said it's like he said 一锅粥, he said like a bowl of porridge. And in a bowl of porridge, this is porridge with sweet potatoes and maybe tomatoes and maybe, it's more like stew. Here's a chunk of potato. Here's a carrot floating by. Here's a chunk of celery. And it's all mixed up. And it's like, it's really a sea, it's really an ocean of causes. And so if even advanced bodhisattvas don't know, who does know? Buddhas are clear. Buddhas can see every living being's 前生前因后果, right? The previous causes and the results of those causes that bring us to where we are today. And it's happening right this minute. So that's how complex we are, and that's why it gives us the name Chunsheng, multitude born, multitude of causes. And of course, if our habits are wholesome and harmless and benefiting others, then our trend is towards better and better rebirths. If our trend is selfish and harmful, if we do more harmful things and fewer wholesome things, then the results are not so happy, right? So, 当然我们就那么多这个生命前生六道轮回里边的来回来去这个好几趟啊。那么如果在这个当中呢，我们多数是没有害处。多数是善良善功德，那我们来生就慢慢的在六道轮回里边往上打。可是如果我们是自私为多，我们害众生为多了，那恐怕来生都不好，很有苦恼这样子。所以这个是商人就说切记，就要不要错因果啊，要注意因果。So Shifu would warn us. He would say, just really pay attention to the good things, to doing good things. Don't make mistakes with cause and effect. So it says, Bodhisattvas benefit living beings, dedicating an ocean of merit to them, hoping that they get 凶猛大力身 strong, healthy bodies, and as a result of the transference, get 微光, incredible radiance that can leap over worlds. 就说因为回向众生，所以愿意令众生得到这种光明，可以超脱这个苦海啊，就得到这种凶猛有大力量的身体。Okay, so it's like that's a kookaburra singing his song, the song of my people. And the birds that are here and the insects that are here, we're heading into spring here. The cold is gone. Today's a hot day. And all of these creatures are alive and speaking Dharma right this minute. So are we. It's hard to visualize that our lives right this minute are in transition, that it's a process. It seems like, well, I'm a human, things are going pretty well, or they're not going very well, but I can make it, I'll just kind of hang in there and wait for the weekend. It's the Buddha Dharma, when we study the Dharma, particularly this sutra, gives us a, what's the word? I remember traveling in Vermont. Sometimes the superhighway in Vermont goes through the mountains, and there's a slice. The highway is just like passing through what's the word? There's almost like a hallway carved through the mountains, and you can see the cross section, all little strata, layer and layer and layer of strata of the mountain. Which only because when they built the highway, the bulldozer, upstate New York, in the Alleghenies and in that area, in the Catskills, often you can see the geological layers and realize that the earth is layer upon layer. Our lives are the same, and with the sutra, taking advantage of the Buddha's wisdom, we can see that, in fact, our lives are layers and layers of existences. And it's happening as we speak. It's happening right now. And the Buddha Dharma, with the teachings on cause and effect, give us a battle plan? No, gives us a blueprint. That's the word that we want. For how to design our future, we can become architects of our next life. I was going to say fate, and fate is the wrong word because it's not fate. Fate is the idea that somehow it's in someone else's hands and it's predestined. The Buddha Dharma says, no, it's not that way at all. It's we who, if we recognize the power of karma to bring about results, we can skillfully use wholesome deeds and words and thoughts and bring about wholesome results, which gives us our future life and the resulting pleasure or misery that is part of it. So yeah, stepping in to take charge of cause and effect is for adults. This is Buddha Dharma for grown-ups, right? This is religion or faith for people who are ready to take charge of the mind ground and cultivate it like a skillful gardener. 就说佛法是好像一个蓝图，蓝图你把它选开，放在桌子上，你说这个是我们要造的房子，这个大门在这儿，窗户在哪里？是3层楼，那个梯子从这边上去，这是东方。我们已经问过地理师，知道东西南北哈。那么这个是基础，就放在这边，这样子有山有水哈，这样子呢，我们可以造大家愿意住、愿意搬进来的、愿意常住的一个房子，那边的日子会过得好舒服了，那么佛法就等于这么一个蓝图，可是那个不是一个房子，是我们的生命。现在我们过的就是在六道轮回里边过，因为一天24个小时， 1分钟60秒钟，我们不觉得现在种下的种子是会生出来生的结果，不过那种因果，我们心地这种菜谱哈，这个花园就是这么活起来的东西了。所以呢，我们懂佛法的人就可以变成我们心地的花园的一个有本事的一个管理花草树木的一个人。将来要住的这个美丽的这个有香味有营养的菜的一个人，那么我们都可以住在哪里啊？那是这个那个是佛法的好处啊。我们并不信命运啊，佛法不是讲命运的一个宗教的信仰，佛法是讲什么？佛法是讲因果。我们未来是在自己的手里，我们是变成这个来生的一个建筑师啊。对了，为什么笑呢？因为就在我们的门外，不知道大家有没有注意，今天那个鸟的歌，唱的歌特别多，因为春天到了。我现在看的是什么？有一个鸟，在一棵树旁边拔下来这些树皮，剥下来这个树皮要做什么？要垒窝了。I'm laughing because right outside my door, I don't know if people are noticing. Can you hear it? There's a tremendous number of bird songs this last week because warm weather has come. It's spring. Right outside my window is a bird who is peeling the bark off the tree right outside my door. And he's taking that bark and making a nest. And he's going to, with that bark, create a beautiful nest and show it to his sweetheart. And she's going to go, okay, pass. I accept it. Let's move in. Or she's going to fly away and say, sorry, I'm looking for another one. That doesn't please me. So it's really that way. If you watch David Attenborough's incredible nature videos, he shows you how an important part of getting accepted as the right mate for a male is to build a nest that his intended likes. She says, this is good. This will hold the eggs, right? So anyway, this process is happening. He's pulling off the bark and he's going to go make a nest with it right outside my window here. How wonderful. 愿是微光特超世，得成凶猛大力身。Let's take a look here. 凡所修习诸功德，愿是世间普清净。诸佛清净无伦披，众生清净亦如是。With all the merit that Bodhisattvas cultivate, they vow to purify all in the worlds. Just as Buddhas are pure beyond compare, living beings can be similarly pure. I don't think it's are, I think it's can become. It's my way of saying that. So this is this word qingjing requires some interpretation for sure. It's certainly not physically clean. It's not. It has to do with causes, with pure cultivation of karma that is intact, not broken. The purest, well, what is a pure cause? Here's an example. We hear about the 6 psychic powers. And what are they? It's said that the psychic powers are, within Buddhism, mind you, are tools that bodhisattvas above the 3rd stage, at the third stage all the way up, are able to use to teach with. For example, we just had Ulambana, right? Madhyayana was this historical person, was said to be the number one, the best of all the Buddha's disciples, his arhat disciples, in using psychic powers. And he had all 6. And with those psychic powers, he was able to travel down to the hells to feed his mother. Unfortunately, he couldn't intervene in her karma, and so she was still suffering, despite his ability. Now, they say that demons, the demon king, Mara, has 5 of 6 psychic powers. So Mara is also able to teach us how to fall. He's able to trick us into following the wrong path. What psychic power does Mara lack? He lacks the one called Wu Lo Jin Tong, the ending of outflows. The Buddha doesn't outflow anymore, and what that means is when the Buddha does something in the Dharma, it is pure and complete, just like our word purity here. It is perfect without any admixture. So let's pin that down. How many times have you done something that was almost right, but it failed because something went wrong? You forgot something. Or you wanted to do something, you got it together to be kind to someone, but they didn't accept it because they heard you say something else, even though you said, no, that's not what I meant. They heard it differently. And you, outflow, right? It wasn't pure. It wasn't perfect, so it didn't work. How many times have you had that happen? For sure. I used to always hear people say that I would say something and they would tell me that it was not what I intended. I would say, no, that's not what I meant. My karma of not telling the truth. So my name, Heng Sure, right? I heard that all the time. People would say, nah, I don't believe you. But I mean it. No, I don't accept. My karma was outflowing with words like that, integrity. So the Buddha, everything the Buddha does is done to perfection without obstruction, purely, no outflows. The Mara, the demon king, his intention is to harm, you see. And so he wants people to be under his power. He wants to be an autocrat. He wants to be a dictator on day one. And so, as a result, he can't accomplish that last shantong, which is lo jin. He's full of outflows. That's how he hooks people in. Right? The Buddha has no intention of hooking people in. Everything he does is done completely purely. So it is the difference of purity and impurity, like that. I don't know if that makes sense to people, but that's one way to understand purity. It's not clean. It's pure, meaning 100%. 什么叫清净不清净呢？在这里就说凡所修习诸功德，愿是世间普清净，愿是所有世间里边的众生普清净，还有他们所住的世间都清净。诸佛清净无论比，佛的清净是不可比的，跟其他的众生完全不一样了。为什么呢？因为100分做事情、讲话、想，就是说做就是行事呢，就无障碍，没有障碍，清净到彼岸了。众生将来可以清净像佛一样的，不是说现在清净像佛，那个讲不通，所以我翻译就不同意了，不是那句啊。将来他们都可以，什么意思呢？大家知道这个五言六通哈，六种神通妙用啊，就说佛呢有6个，第6个最难得漏尽通。魔王 他有5个了，少了哪一个就是第6漏尽通，他没有不能漏尽，为什么呢？因为他愿意就在众生上边，他愿意就说支配一切众生，令我们他愿意吃众生的精神所以就是他化自在天，就是魔王所住的地方，其他人的自在，其他人所欢喜的，他就透了这样子为他的生命，维持他的生命，这就是漏所以我们什么叫就是不讲魔王，讲自己，我们人你们做事多少次做的差不多了，就到最后呢就失败了，就是80%、75%、一半、50%成功就说，然后不行到最后垮了，有没有？我自己因为我名字就果真恒实，就是讲话方面就有障碍，有习气了那个习气是什么？就是不讲真话。如果知道大家会欢喜我就可以加醋加盐，可以不怕那就是有漏了。结果呢，我真的用心愿意说话，大家需要相信我，大家就说不相信，不接受，或者呢，我所讲的他们听错了。我年轻的时候，还有没有遇到佛法之前，我常常说这个话，我不是那个意思，我不是那个意思。你听我讲话，你听错了，我是另外一个意思。大家说，不管，我不管你，我不相信你，我不信任你讲的话，常常碰到这个情形。为什么呢？因为我自己有这个漏，就说讲话里边都有用意，不是全确是诚心来讲话，结果呢就碰到这个状况，人都不相信我所讲的那个是苦，那很痛心的那么要改就在这里要改结果呢魔王他不能向佛漏尽，他的用意他就是骗人了他讲话不可以接受，不可以相信，他愿意令众生造业堕落，他可以支配，他是一个专制独裁的所以跟佛不一样，就在这儿我们生命里边哪里就说有这些障碍呢？那就是漏了所以众生回向菩萨回向，希望众生做任何事情都会成功，都圆满100%。OK那么这样子呢，受到回向，众生将来就像佛一样清净。I think that's my understanding of how this works. Okay, let's do another one here. 菩萨于意得善巧，能知诸佛随圣最胜法，以众善业等回向，愿令庶品同如来。庶品 there's another living beings translation, 庶品。Bodhisattvas are well versed in all principles, comprehending the supreme dharma of all Buddhas. They dedicate all wholesome karma without discrimination, hoping to make all living beings equal to the Tathagata. Okay, I realize I haven't been singing today. 菩萨于意得善巧，能知诸佛最胜法，以众善业等回向，愿令庶品同如来。Bodhisattvas are well versed in all principles, comprehending the supreme dharma of all Buddhas. They dedicate all wholesome karma without discrimination, hoping to make all living beings equal to the Tathagata. These lines are really hard to make musical. Bodhisattvas understand principles. That's what they see in their minds when they clear away the things that cover their minds. They comprehend the Buddha's supreme Dharma. The Buddha sees those principles in his nature purely and can explain it in ways that we accept. And because they are practicing transference, they dedicate wholesome karma to everyone, without exceptions. They would like to make all living beings the same as the Buddha. Okay? Yeah, that's very cool how that works. Alrighty. Now, here's another translation. Shu Pin. I hadn't seen that one before. Let's see here. Shu Pin. Where's our notes page? Living beings. Shu Pin. Zhong Sheng. Somebody's unhappy. Zhong Sheng. Pusa Chun Sheng. Okay. This is springtime and there's lots of activity out there in the forest. Okay, and there's also one that's Tang Sheng. Let's see, here it is. Tang Sheng. Okay, all these different, what are some other ones? Anybody got some more? Type in here. Maybe Yihuan can add some more here. Let's see. Okay, Sattva, yeah, sentient beings, that's right. Okay, there we go. Sentient beings, multitude born is the Chinglish word by word translation. Here we go. Okay. Shupin, that's interesting. Okay, different ways to translate living beings. Okay, here we are. And the most, I said earlier that Buddha Dharma is let's just use the language, here we go. Buddha Dharma is a religion for adults, okay? Now, if I could write a whole dissertation defending that statement. What do you mean by religion? What do you mean by adults, et cetera, et cetera? So, because we're friends and you're not attacking me and listening critically, I'm sure. But there's a point that I want to make here, is that when you, when I taught my college class here at Bond University, I usually, in the first class to get people, first class of the semester, to get people interested in and kind of sensing that the Dharma, that Buddhism, this is a class on Buddhist philosophy, right? That this is different than other teachings. I would start the class by saying, who is in charge of your life? Who's in charge? Who makes decisions when you do things? And first of all, the students had to kind of shake their heads and realize I was actually talking to them, not lecturing at them, and I wanted something back from them. And I would try to identify right away the Christians. And the Christians would, if they were answering from the point of view of Christian theology, the doctrines, the dogma, they would say, well, God is. It's the, it's the Creator's intent, God's will. If God wills it, it will happen. His eye is on the sparrow, so I know he watches me. So I'm so much more important than a sparrow. So even small birds, God is in charge. That would be a typical Christian response. But not everybody in the class was Christian or had Christian parents or grandparents even. Some people completely were not interested in religion. So they would say, well, I think, basically fate. It's all fixed. Fate is in charge. You can't do anything about it. It's all settled. We just have to wait. And there's no room to decide. We just walk through it. Fate. And some people would say, yeah, but that sounds not quite right, because what about free will? And then other people, gamblers, would say, it's the luck of the draw. It's just, you don't really get to decide because there's nobody's in charge. There's no fate. There's no God. It's just random, luck, chance. Some people are lucky, others are not lucky. So it's not fate, it's chance. And so here we have three answers about who's in charge. It's God's will, it's fate, or it's chance. And all three of them, well, two of the three give power to some sort of a huge database, almost like a computer with an infinite memory, which knows everything about you and me, and the answer is there. Okay? Let me translate that much, and then we'll continue. 到第七回向最后七品，现在还有3首，1、2、3就讲完了啊。就说这是讲什么？讲业报，六道轮回，业报，众生怎么来的？就是这个善业、恶业，还有它的果报。在这里附近的大学 Bond University， 我教课，我当教授。就是这个课程叫佛教哲学，就是大学生进来。第一门课，第一天我就这样开始，我愿意让他们注意，开始动思考，动他们的脑筋。我说，那个谁在支配你的生命？你的生命是谁在决定你做事？到底你讲话、动作是谁在那儿负责 ？Who's in charge of your life？ 你的生命是谁在那儿掌握呢？他们就你跟我讲话吗？好，如果是基督徒还是天主徒，他们就说，就是上帝在决定 ，God's will。他们说，上帝的决心就支配一切。小小的麻雀，上帝在注意，何况我人，一定上帝在决定。我说 OK， 好，然后我就说，有多少人觉得上帝在负责，上帝在决定你要做什么？多少人？不多了。举手就是基督徒、天主徒。有的人就说：“那个我没有考虑过。”我觉得就是命运已经决定了，我没有主宰，我的前途已经决定了，就好像在一棵树里边就写好了，我没有讲话的权利。有的人就这么想，可是有的人就说：“哇，命运 fate， destiny， 好像我们只能等看将来是怎么一回事，我没有把握了。”可是那个听起来好像太不自由了，好像第三种人，我说多少人认为是命运才决定了，不多了，就举手有几个。然后我说那第三种选择，有没有人 觉得就是运气，运气也不是上帝的志愿，也不是命运已经决定了，你没有本事，你没有机会，好像就是运气啊，就是 luck， 完全没有一定的，就没有人在支配，没有哪一本书就说写好了你的前途，没有了，就是完全看姻缘啊，就是侥幸啊，没有一定的啊，有的人就好运，有的人苦运呢，就这样子。多少人觉得你的生命有这种支配，有的就举手没有。我说佛教怎么说呢？他们不知道，你是教授，你告诉我们。好。So I say, okay, so some of you think God's will is in charge of your life. All is decided by God. Don't ask. You're never going to get an answer. He knows. His computer knows your answer. Some people say, no, I don't believe that. I actually believe that it's all done by fate. It's written in the book, and there's a database that knows, but I don't know, and I can't do anything about it, so why struggle? A third group says, actually, no, I don't think that's true. I know it's not God, and I don't think it's fate. I think it's just basically chance. You just kind of have to hope for the best. If that bullet's got your name on it, that's it. But you might get lucky, right? So, luck or fate or God's will. I said, what about the Buddha's answer? You want to hear what it is? He said, yeah, you're the teacher, you tell us. The Buddha says it's cause and effect. It's not fate. It's not luck. It's certainly not some supreme being who's got his eye on the sparrow and on you. It's planting seeds in the ground of the mind. You actually are in charge of your fate. Your future is in your hands. You decide what's going to happen. That's the truth. And whether you become a sparrow or whether you become a god, you can be the one or the other. And we have been all these things in the past, but it's up to us to decide what we want to do now. So, with all the merit and virtue that bodhisattvas cultivate, they vow to purify all in the world and all the world. Just as Buddhas are pure beyond compare, living beings can become similarly pure. Okay, interesting, huh? So, 你们如果问你们，你觉得你的生命是谁在那支配呢？ If I ask you who is in charge of your life, I wonder what your answer would be. That's why I say it's a religion for adults. Not many people can hear that. Some of us will say, well, it's actually my husband. He's in charge. Oh, it's actually the oligarchs on Wall Street who purify our country. Occupy Wall Street. No, it's not really. It's multinational corporations. It's George Soros and his Zionist cabal. It's QAnon, right? All these different ideas giving power away to something you can't see or hear. But only an adult can say, actually, it's not easy, but I want to do it one step at a time. One word, one thought, one action. Purified, dedicated is the path ahead. 所以呢，我就说佛法是成人的宗教信仰 ，adult 大人的一种宗教信仰。孩子没有办法，孩子怎么说呢？爸爸妈妈决定啊。那么身体长大的孩子，大身体的孩子怎么说呢？哇，是政府在支配，还是就说我的老板他在决定，或者我的先生他在决定，我没有主宰啊， 或者呢就说 conspiracy theories， 就说是他们那些坏人他们决定，或者 Wall Street 的银行管理者、大富翁他们在决定，这都是孩子的答案。成人怎么说呢？就自作自受，就说身口意所造的业就是决定我的前途。我要你有一个光明、正大光明的前途了，所以我现在要种下正大光明的种子。So there you go. We got 3 more verses. 3 more verses to go before we finish our 7th transference and launch into number 8. 我们还有3首就讲完了，我们就把第7回向就圆满，就到第8回向。Okay, let's travel back to the Tang Dynasty with our intrepid pilgrim, Master Xuanzang. 我们现在回去唐朝，跟玄奘大师在这就谈钱哈。The Vinaya, let's see here. The king lived in this city called Mangalore, which used to be known as, currently known as Udiana, a large and important village at the foot of one of the northwest spurs of the Dosiri Mountain between Swat and Bonar. Okay, rich. 4 or 5 li to the east of the city, 就说这个王，这个国家的大王，多居蒙界里城，人物丰盛，城东4、5里有大树赌博，多有奇瑞，是佛系在人如仙人，为竭力王，割截身体处。Okay, 4 or 5 li to the east of the city was a great stupa, which had many miraculous signs. This was a place where the Buddha came. We're in the Buddha's territory now. This was the place where the Buddha had been dismembered by the king Kali when he was the patient immortal in one of his previous lives. Okay, now, ask you, which sutra tells this story? Anybody know? You can raise your hands, I'm sure. This is the, we've actually explained it before. This is the Vajra Sutra. In the Diamond Sutra, it talks about the king of Kalinga and how he had a bad temper. And on the mountainside, he met the patient immortal who was cultivating patience. And the king got jealous and used his sword to progressively chop the patient immortal into bits to see if he could provoke him into anger. And when the patient immortal was patient, the king got even more angry and started to cut him into pieces and continued to cut him into pieces. And the Dharma protectors started to throw hailstones out of the sky at the king. They were going to kill him. And the patient immortal said, do not kill him. In the future, he is going to be my disciple. I will be the first one. He will be the first one I take across. He'll be Ajanta Kandinya. And sure enough, that was their relationship. So that's in the Diamond Sutra. 我问大家，这个故事是哪一部经就出现了？大家知道哈？Your list covers all 苍生 OK, good, 好的 Thank you, 一焕。那个就说我问大家，这个是哪一部经有这个故事？这个人如仙人哈。那么有的就答复对的是《金刚经》，《金刚般若波罗蜜经》。这个是那个时候佛还没有到他最后生命，他不是释迦牟尼佛的那个生命里边， 他是一个忍辱贤，他在山上修忍辱行。那个孤立王来了，跟他的妃子一起，他看到这个忍辱贤，就他的太太啊，他那个妃子很注意了，他就妒忌心，就问他他会不会嗔恨？那个忍辱贤说没有了，我没有嗔恨心。然后他拿出来他的国王的这个剑，就开始割他的耳朵、鼻子啊、手啊、脚啊，就希望引起这个忍辱贤的嗔恨心，他的脾气了。不会，他还是没有脾气了啊。然后哇，这个格利王因为出佛身血，就是将来的佛身血，结果天龙八部就忍不住了，开始打他了啊。然后那个忍辱贤说不要了，将来啊，他会给我做第一个超度的弟子，叫成儒啊。所以佛知道他有这种宿命通，他知道这个因果，他们的因缘。就是这么一个故事哈，就是在这个地方，今天玄奘大师就到那里去。So the patient immortal at the time already had the knowledge of past lives and was able to say, this person is going to be my disciple in the future. So this is the place where that happened. Wow, amazing, sacred ground. 城东北250里入大山，至阿波罗罗龙泉，即苏婆河至上渊也。西南流，其地寒冷，春夏恒冻，木积雪飞，人寒五色，霏霏五烂，如杂花年。龙泉西南30余里，水北岸磐石上，有佛脚迹，随人福愿，量有修短，是佛悉服阿波罗罗龙氏，至此流迹而去。Difficult Chinese here. At a distance of 250 li to the northeast of the city, the master entered a mountainous region and reached the spring of the Apalala dragon, Apalala, which was the source of the Subhavastu River that flowed towards the southwest. The place was cold and it froze both in the spring and in the summer. In the evenings, the snow began to fall, and the flakes were of varied colors, dancing in the air like different sorts of flowers. Can you imagine? Colored snow. More than 30 li to the southwest of the Dragon Spring, and on a rock on the northern bank of the river were the Buddha's footprints, which were variable in size according to the goodwill of the man who measured them. These footprints were left by the Buddha when he came here to subdue the Abalala dragon. Okay, so if you'll recall, here we are. Here we are. See this valley right here. This is where we're talking about, where the snow, it's snowy right now, you can see the Khyber Pass. Let's go down here. Oops. Where are we? This is Afghanistan. Here's Kabul, Tajikistan. Shendrang Dashi came along here. Here's that valley we saw. Islamabad is here. And this is the Swat Valley. And so he's coming down. Here's India, down here. He's going to pass through this area. So Pakistan, Afghanistan, India are all in this area, right? Can you see where we are here? Here's India, and he has to come down to where we can usually think of the Buddha as being here in India, but in fact, the Buddha walked for 49 years, all the way up to the north. So he's traveling past these spots with all these incredible miracles. 各位注意哈，这个是巴基斯坦、阿富汗和印度的边际，就那里哈。佛呢，49年，7749年走路到这些地方，所以玄奘大师他现在就预兆这些留下奇迹的地方，我们说是奇迹，其实这个是佛的，就说有圣因呢，也结果有圣果，殊胜的因，殊胜的果报，Okay, here we are. So, because these things happened 900 years previous, maybe 1,000 years earlier, so they built stupas to commemorate these incredible stories. And dragons subduing dragons, leaving footprints that changed in size, snow that fell in different colors. You know, you kind of go, whoa, that's unusual. How can we, how does science view this? Well, this is spiritual ground, sacred ground. And the Buddha had extraordinary causes and conditions. And his humanity was able to instigate heaven and earth to manifest these spiritual signs. 有的人就不相信，有怀疑了，就说：“哎呀，怎么会有这些奇迹呢？科学有什么看法呢？”其实这还是在因果里边了。佛陀他是殊胜的人，圣人。结果呢，天和地都会出现这些殊胜的果、殊胜的现象。那么如果我们要看这些奇迹的话，我们都要献出佛的这种殊胜的果报。If we want to see these miracles, all we have to do is manifest the Buddha's 功德, and this kind of cause and effect will return for sure. Look at these events. 顺流下30余里，有如来着衣时，袈裟条叶，闻相宛然。30 li along the river was the washing stone of the Buddha, the stripes of his robe still clearly visible on the stone. Okay. 城南400余里，至西罗山，是如来习温半际，报药差之恩，舍身下处。Continuing 400 li towards the south of the city, so this is 100 plus Western miles, he reached Mount Hilo, the place where the Tathagata, in one of his previous lives, given up his body to repay the kindness of a yaksha from whom he had learned half agata. This is one of those wonderful stories that when Shifu taught the Dharma, he would pass on these traditional, wonderful stories that were part of the tradition in the monastery. This is kind of the received Dharma that sometimes in the sutra, sometimes not. But because our teacher was trained in the Tiantai Jiaohuan and lived in the monasteries in the tradition of teaching, lecturing on sutras, he was able to give us the received tradition, the traditional things that are passed on outside of the teachings. And these stories were among them. But here is Master Xuanzang walking through these actual places where these stories happen. So you have to kind of reorient your mind in the midst of these incredible, miraculous legends. So, 就说有经书的教会，你如果读经呢，你就知道。然后呢，还有一种交流，就是在道场里边，在僧团里边，就是所传下来的这些故事和真理。因为上人是在天台教观里边，教育受过教育，同时上人也在那个僧团里边就知道这些就说口授的这个道理，所以这些故事他都告诉我们。可是各位知道，现在玄奘大师就走在哪里这些发生的地方，他就亲手亲眼可以看到，可以听到。So Master Xuanzang is now physically passing through these places. It kind of challenges us to think, yeah, Shifu told us these stories. Did we believe them then? Now we have a personal witness to these miracles. Let's practice the way Bodhisattvas do. Transfer the merit. Here we go. May every living be our minds as one and radiant with light. Share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. People hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. All right, and before we're done, I'm going to bow to the Buddhas. You can all join me if you care to. Here we go. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us. Next time you hear from me, it'll be from Vancouver. Anybody in Canada who wants to join, please get in touch with Gold Buddha. OK， 我们下次就从温哥华在那儿广播。OK， 阿弥陀佛。See you all next week, everybody. 阿弥陀佛。Bye now.
Thank you, Shiva.
阿弥陀佛。Welcome.